Next week is going to be a little different. I'm going to be posting videos on Monday and Wednesday, and then also on Tuesday. After that, it should be back to normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I said that my channel wasn't just going to be music covers or discussions, but also, things I've experienced in this industry and things that I want to shed light on. So, today's topic is having to do with how people treat you based on appearances, and especially like the, not necessarily the sexism, but also like the unspoken requirement of sex appeal that a lot of pop music and just people in pop music, bestow on people who are trying to get into that industry. And the longer that you're here in this career of trying to be a singer-songwriter or some kind of artist in pop music, the more you're going to face instances where you are judged for the way you look. The whole issue of people trying to judge you because you don't look like the status quo. You don't look skinny. You don't look white or Eurocentric, commercially marketable to the masses, because you're not blonde or thin and skinny and long-legged and, charming like the way they want you to be. Like I'm an introvert, so and it takes a lot of time for me to be on, like to really like step it up on stage. It takes a lot of effort for me to try to be social and to try to make people laugh, but it really hurts just to deal with that the longer that I am in this industry. Which brings me to my next topic. You'll often hear it figuratively said in music and in songs and poetry that people sold their soul to the devil. When I was younger, I took that literally. Like, people actually sold their soul to the devil. And I'm like, where is this devil? But, now that I'm older and I've been in this industry a little longer, I'm starting to see that whole selling your soul thing as a sort of a different definition. And I'm sorry if you hear like a thing. My car is on and the air conditioning is on. It's still hot where I am. Hot like the inferno. I've had to redefine for myself what it means to sell your soul. And I don't think selling your soul is actually signing like a contract, saying you'll worship the devil or something. I think figuratively and metaphorically, selling your soul kind of means losing your sense of virtue. As a songwriter, there's this very challenging line that you face, whether it's to write music that you really want to write, but you're gonna have to work harder to find a niche of people, the semi-righteous path. And then there's another path where it's like, I dress a certain way, I write music a certain way that's like for them, not necessarily for the masses, but it's just like, it's kind of like songwriting cheating, losing that sense of authenticity that you had when you started out in this industry, that sense of purity, I guess. And and I understand why people like lose that sense of purity and being naive and trusting, because there are a lot of bitches in this industry who will take advantage of you. They will take advantage of you. They will overcharge you for their services. They will talk shit behind your back, and they will make you so disillusioned with this industry that you are fighting every day not to quit. You are fighting every day not to quit. There's just a lot of bad people in this industry. And I understand why people feel the need to get tougher, get stronger, and lose that sense of purity. And I think that's what it means to sell your soul. And I'm here because I want to make good music. I did not go to music school. I did not learn piano or voice. I did not start my journey in music since childhood to be, like a freaking, what would you call it? Some kind of shallow influencer. I really didn't start it. I started my journey because I wanted to create good music, and I fell in love with music. I mean, that's why so many of us start our journey in music. But the older that you get, you see other people doing better. They have more followers, they have more fans, a better fan base, a following. They maybe they have more awards, they have better opportunities, they gig in better places, and usually these people with a lot of opportunities tend to be better looking people, social people, skinny people. I'm not saying that they didn't work hard for their accomplishments, because I'm pretty sure they did, and there are a lot of wonderful skinny people out there. Not shaming them, but I'm just saying it's a pattern. Finding out a reason to keep moving forward, that's a tough one, because people keep saying, "Oh, I started my career, my journey in music when I was 6 years old or 4 years old, and I that's when I started singing. That's when I took lessons," But when people say, that they started in this industry, I think an industry start is determined by when you decide, that day that you decide that you're going to commit to music and that you're going to try your best to make some kind of living in music. And that's the day that I believe your industry start. It doesn't start when you learn an instrument or when you play your first gig, or you play, at the talent show at school, even though those are very important, like baby steps. I think the day that you start in this industry is the day that you decide to be in this industry. Going through this industry, you have to find a constant reason why you're staying in it. Because, as I'm graduating, Cal Poly Pomona, which is the school I go to for music school, and I'm supposed to be graduating this December. But I walk in May. Anyways, as I am graduating Cal Poly Pomona, I see a bunch of people either giving up on music altogether. They're either giving up on music altogether. Like, here's what happens. Sorry, I had to take a sip. Here's what happens when people graduate music school. This is the general path that people take when they graduate music school. Number one, they will either, like, when they graduate music school, and they will, ba, 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 yay, I graduated. Okay, the first thing that they're either gonna do is, like, move back home and do something else other than music, okay? And I'm not judging them, but these are just the normal things that people do outside of music school, They'll do something outside of music. They'll work somewhere else, And I totally understand. Music school is tremendously tiring and exhausting. And then the second option, sorry, I had to burp. The second option that they do is they still stay in the music industry, but they kind of hold back. And I have no, like, if that's like the path that they want to do, then that's fine. Fine. More power to them, and I'm happy for them. Blessings, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's say they wanted to be something else, but they instead put themselves into, like, music accounting or something, or music business, but they wanted to be an artist originally, but then they sort of, like, gave up along the way and they settled for something else. That's option number 2. Option number 3, they'll work a day job that's related to music, and then they'll also support their living as a singer-songwriter artist, which is what I'm trying to do and what I see a bunch of other people doing. And number 4, let's see, what is number 4? I think actually, no, those are just the 3. Basically, they either get out of music, they stay in music, but not really, and then they go for music head on with some kind of music-related day job or whatnot, you know? And I've seen very, very talented people in my school and outside of my school, and especially in other music colleges, you know, they're close to graduating or they graduate, but they just, they don't see the worth in moving on as an artist, you know. I know this young composer person who was also my friend, and he is a very, very talented songwriter, and he's not bad looking himself, okay? So he's got that, you know, advantage. Some of us are blessed with good looks, and some of us are not. That's just the truth. This guy was blessed with some kind of good look, okay? And talent, and he's funny. But he's not going for it. He's not going for being a singer-songwriter. And I'm not judging his choice, you know. He's got other things to think about, and family stuff and personal stuff and whatnot. But it makes me kind of sad to see that he won't continue his journey much as a singer-songwriter, and he would rather just sort of stay in the background and stay somewhere safe, you know. And I get that musicians, the reason why some of us settle for less is because we're sick and tired of the instability that the music industry gives us. We're sick and tired of trying to adhere to a standard and then falling short. We suffer years of that. And then some of us just want stability so bad that we will settle for just, you know, a job that will eventually turn into a career that will take over our lives and basically be something that we didn't originally want to do when we started out, you know. I'm not going to call it mediocrity because, you know, I don't want to judge anyone's choices. But, you know, this industry wears out some people, you know, it's like one big marathon, you know. We're not all fast runners, but some of us are consistent, and some of us don't see the point in running the race anymore. It's just tough to keep moving forward in this industry and to keep walking. And that's what I've been trying to do with getting my day job. My day job nowadays is teaching piano and voice, you know. I earn some kind of wage through doing that. And then I'm also being more consistent with my YouTube videos, posting at least 2 to 3 times a week, 3 times a week. That's my goal, like until the end of next year. You know, and releasing more singles, recording. In fact, I'm recording something tomorrow. So, you know, that's my goal, is to be more consistent. Baby steps, keep moving forward. But every day that I'm in this industry and every day that I make a goal and I try to commit to that goal and those projects, it's hard because I always wonder to myself in the back of my mind, what the hell am I doing this for? And why the hell do I keep doing this? And, you know, I have to remind myself every day that it's because I fell in love with music and I love music. And I want to create good music that connects with other people and becomes a part of their lives. To me, that's what it's all about. And you must never forget that in this industry. Whether you're a songwriter, composer, producer, or even a music tech person, just never forget that it's all about making good music for the people. But the first time I experienced direct alienation for my weight in the music industry and the entertainment industry was when I was walking into this producer's house. I was 17 years old. I wasn't even 18 years old. I was 17 years old. I was recording my song. I was scheduled to record my song. I walk into this producer's house, this recording engineer's house. And, he has a very nice house. It's not fancy, but it was nice. And I walked in there, and he said, "Oh, you must be the agent for the artist. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you. Do you know when she's coming?" And I'm like, when who's coming? And he's like, "The artist." And I'm like, "You think I'm the agent for the artist?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "I am the artist." And then this guy literally assumed. And another time that happened was when I was filming a music video for that same song. And I met this guy who was working on the music video. Well, he was kind of helping us rent the place. And he also thought that I was either the agent or the manager of the artist because I didn't look like the artist. And then when I explained to him that I was the artist, he's like, Pikachu face meme. So, and I've always been like 180 to 200 pounds. Like, that's my weight, and I'm 5'3". So, my body weight is kind of chubby, to a little obese, I guess. And I've always struggled with my weight fluctuating, and I've tried multiple diets. I have tried to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and other little physical activities. I have tried, but my weight is like this. So, weight loss has been a constant struggle for me. And I still fight to lose some weight. But the fact that I've had to deal with those like scumbags early on in this industry, and the fact that I still deal with scumbags like that in this industry pisses me off. But it also makes me want to prove them wrong, because I believe that everyone deserves representation, whether that's Asian Americans, Latinos, Black Americans, whether it's full-size, plus-size people, whether it's people with disabilities. I believe everyone deserves representation. And, I'm really tired of people thinking that just because we are different and we look different and we're not the status quo, that we shouldn't be given some kind of voice and some kind of media representation. And I still have to deal with that shit. Like, I dealt with it yesterday. I'm not going to explain the details of what I dealt with yesterday, but I dealt with it yesterday, essentially. And I was pissed, and other people saw me pissed. So, it's a struggle not to be bitter. Like, I went through the 5 stages of grief yesterday, and some of my friends saw me. But then, I sort of simmered down this morning. It's evening now. But I simmered down this morning, and I'm thinking with a slightly clearer head. And even though there are assholes and people who are shallow like that, I must keep moving forward. I must keep making music. I must keep trying to connect with people who would be my audience. And I must never forget that I love music and I want to make good music. And that's the everyday struggle that you will have as an artist, is whether or not you will keep believing in that, keep believing in your talent, your hard work, and your love for music, versus, giving it all up and trying to sound like somebody else, the next popular artist, and trying to copy someone else, trying to do the marketing technique that has proven viral, trying to do all this bull. And I feel bad for today's artists, my generation. I'm Gen Z. I'm 23 years old. Because we're not just artists these days. We are entrepreneurs. We are business people. We run our own websites. We run our social medias, our YouTube, our TikToks, our Reels, everything, our Facebook pages, Twitter, if you have it, we run our social media presence, and we have to really work at creating and developing our own merch, getting our own headshots, basically working with other videographers to film our own music videos. We have to be our own managers, and we have to be really hands-on. And that is a job that artists have not had to do in the, like, 30 years ago, 40, 30 years ago, like in my parents' generation. All they had to do was sing and maybe look decent. But that's it. Nowadays, it's sing, look decent, and plus all this other bunch of stuff that they have to do. And it's hard. That's also exhausting. That's also part of the reason why people leave this industry. It's because it is too freaking exhausting. And major labels, I mean, there's only 3 now, right? It's which one is it? Universal, Warner, and Sony. Universal, Warner, and Sony. Those are the major 3, and they have a bunch of little subsidiaries. And, you know, it's hard. It's hard to do things when you're not backed up by a major label. When you're just a small, little indie artist. It's hard. It's fucking hard. And it's exhausting. But I think the way I get through it, and I don't know what other people do, but this is how I get through it. I look at my peers, the peers who I admire, and they inspire me. I look at my peers. You know, I see them with their content creation and their consistency, their humility and their authenticity. And it inspires me. So I think for me, just, you know, watching other people keep going in this industry and finding the strength, that's very encouraging to me. Like, 2 people I find very encouraging from my peer group is, well, I'll mention them. I'll give them a shout out. Kyra Bravo. I think her YouTube channel is Angel Girl Kyra. She is an incredibly it's a non-binary femme. I apologize. But Kyra Bravo, is a very, very talented artist and fashion influencer and content creator. And their consistency and their transparency with mental health, as well as being a medium-sized, you know, not skinny, you know, person, has really inspired me to be more consistent on YouTube and more true to my art. And I think another second person that has inspired me is this person. You should really listen to her music. Her name is Sonia Midtune. She just released this EP called Golden Girl after her single Golden Girl. And she's also a songwriting mentor. And you know, you face a lot of ageism where people are prejudiced against your against your age in this industry. And she's like 30, I think. But, you know, when you're like young, you have a very different idea of what your music career is going to look like versus when you're 30. And I really like how Sonia hasn't waited for anyone's permission. If she wanted to do something, whether it was a project or an EP or setting up her own show or contacting a radio station, she did it. She went out and she did it. And that's what I really appreciate from her, is like, you know, her guts to go after the things that she wants, no matter what anybody says. So she's inspiring. Sonia, I love you. Thank you for your inspiration. And check out her music, guys. So yeah, watching my peers. Another thing that has helped me deal with, you know, the disappointment in this industry is listening to music from people who have not become bitter in this industry. People who didn't just make it successfully in terms of like grand scale, but, you know, yesterday when I dealt with my disappointment yesterday, and I'm not going to specify what it was, but I was very, very disappointed. It felt like, you know, that feeling when you work so hard for a job and then you get passed over and someone else gets the thing that you believed that you've earned. That's how I felt like. And Well, it is what it is. I'm not going to be bitter. Bitterness is just a really exhausting emotion. But how I dealt with it last night was listening to music that I love, especially the Beatles and Paul McCartney's song. There's, a very famous song called Hey Jude that he wrote. So, hey Jude, don't make it bad. He wrote that song, and there's a lyric in that song that says, for all you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder. That really, that really helps. That really helped me to know that, just because other people are mean and shallow and bitchy doesn't mean you have to stoop down to their level. And older music like that. And there's another song called 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, which kind of talks about the struggles of the working class and capitalism at best taking advantage of you. But, just hearing music like that from my heroes, the Beatles, Dolly Parton, Elton John, Aretha Franklin, it's really inspiring, and it's like a North Star that keeps guiding me, So yeah, being inspired by your peers, some mentors, your heroes, and keeping yourself busy with, posting more, writing more, and noticing that you've got so much other things going on in your life, and that this is not the end. This is one disappointment, and the longer you are in this industry, you're going to deal with a lot of disappointment. I mean, that's part of the journey. You're going to deal with some assholes and some angels, assholes and angels, and people who are a little bit of both. But yeah, that's the journey. So that's my take on the music industry. I see a car pulling up next to me. So, yeah. And if you guys want me to talk about something else, then feel free to tell me. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, except for next week, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because I have a gig. But yeah, thank you for listening.